Hey, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of The In-Between. I'm your host, Elizabeth, and I have my friend Alex Armijo here. She's an artist, she's an ally, she's an advocate, she's a DEI thought leader. So she's basically a badass. She was here a few weeks ago. We had a super fun episode on neurodiversity, ADHD, and just all our weird quirks of our brains, the things that make us us. Insert little jingle here. But I was like, hey, Alex, I'd like to have you back on the pod. You're fun. You're my friend. I like our banter. And also, like, you are interested in, like, a lot of different things. And I was in the theme of Pride Month. I was like, I want to talk about sexuality. And so anyways, I digress. We'll get into all that fun shit later. But Alex, welcome to The In-Between again.
Thank you. Thank you. Good to be back. Always enjoying our little sessions together.
They are sessions. We call them coffee chats.
They're like therapy sessions. I feel like
they really are.
We should get insurance reimbursement for this. I feel like
is that a possibility? I'm sure our benefits team would love that.
It sure is not a possibility. Let me tell you what.
She's like been there, tried and true, and it did not work out for me. Well, before we actually get into anything today, I just want to humble brag on you for a second. So you're an artist, and I know you talked about your art last time you were on, and I'll let you tee up your social media at the end. But since you were on, you've sold a few original works, right?
I have, man. I went like a whole month that I sold 4 original pieces. I was so excited, and I sold some additional prints, and I've got a new commission that's coming up. Like, I am just really getting it.
See, something about getting out of your comfort zone, right? And then the universe just rewards. I feel like this entire episode today is going to be out of my comfort zone just a wee bit, but you know what? That's why I'm going to have it, because what do I always say? There's magic in the unknown. There is magic getting out of your comfort zone. So we're just going to see if we crash and burn here, or if I end up unicorn at the end. So we're hoping for the latter. But congrats on that. That is so badass. I can't even imagine how fulfilling and validating that must be for someone to pay you, compensate you for your art. Like, I love that.
Yeah, well, and not only that, but it's like that this person sees the stuff that I have displayed, and they're like, I want to be part of your celebrating beautiful, different sized bodies. I'm like, and I see myself in your art. Do you know how, like, that's the whole reason I do what I do, is for
I love
people
that.
to see themselves, because that's why I started in the first place, was because I was not seeing my body type in a lot of erotic art, or just art celebrating our bodies, right? And so I started doing it on my own, and here I am.
That's so awesome.
Fancy as could be.
And it is the ultimate compliment. Like, I see me in this. And it's like, oh, yes. As long as there's confidence. I love it. I love it. So snaps for you. Don't know if you can hear that, but snaps for Alex. So yeah. What you been up to recently? Have you, you're my little friend. You're one of my favorite people to talk mental health things with. 'Cause like we literally do have coffee chats, and we talk about all things. We talk about family internal systems, DEI, whatever the shit. But, what have you been into recently? Have you seen Inside Out 2? Because I feel like you would have seen Inside Out 2.
I saw Inside Out 2.
Okay.
I cried when Anxiety had her anxiety attack, because I was like, I know how that feels when you just can't get yourself out of it.
So overall, you enjoyed it, I'm going to assume.
Yeah, it was really cute. I mean, I don't feel like it didn't hit me the same as it did the first one. And I heard that some of the characters changed, but I didn't know.
Yes, disgust and fear have a different vocal actor. So I just want to give my quick thoughts. And before I even give my quick thoughts, because I have thoughts, and of course I have thoughts. I am not a Disney adult, but your girl does love Inside Out. And so I went into this with very high expectations. And for what it's worth, Inside Out 1 wrecked me. Like,
absolutely
wrecked me.
Absolutely.
Maybe in the worst way, but definitely in the best way. But like, oh my gosh, spoiler alert. It came out like forever ago. So if you haven't seen it, then this is on you. But like, emotions having emotions, who would have thunk it? But like, holy shit balls, it got me good. I mean, I will watch that movie even if I just want to like a cry. If I need to cry, just put it on, because it's going to wreck you. Yes.
Yep.
A 10-year-old moving is going to wreck you. Just wait for it. Just wait for it. But it's great. It's great. So I went into this movie with extremely high expectations,
Mm.
especially when I was like, ooh, our girl Anxiety's here
There's
to play.
your problem with a sequel. Man.
Well, again, because Inside Out was absolutely phenomenal, I was like, I thought it, because normally I don't have
you thought
expectations.
they were going to do it again?
I did, because it's also Pixar, so I'm taking like that magic and the Inside Out magic, and I'm like, it's going to be great.
Yes.
And plus, like, how could they mess up puberty? Like, that's like a whole story arc, right? So
it could have gone on for hours.
It definitely could.
Honestly,
it was way too short.
I'm kind of waiting for the character Riley, which is also my daughter's name, by the way, to come out as a lesbian in Inside Out 3, because did you see all of her like hot older girl teammates that she was obsessed with?
I saw that and I'm like, there is like your high school age, like, you know, emotional expression, but
yeah.
We digress. I need to get back to like my pain points of this.
Okay, your pain points.
Please. You're like, Jesus Christ, who gives a shit? I'm like, I have hyper-analyzed this. So I'm just kidding. These are my few icks. One, Inside Out took place over like the course of like 10 months or however long a school year was, because she moves and it's like her progression through that, right? This movie was over the course of 3 days. It was so rushed. So I felt like it was rushed. I felt like it was surface level just a little bit.
Okay,
I still think it was great. I still think it's going to be a great tool to talk about anxiety and like overcoming it and like it taking over, blah, 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 blah. But I think they tried to do too much. They introduced 4 new emotions and they hardly even touched like embarrassment and boredom. And envy, yeah, right. And envy kept going back and on we, yeah. Well, and
I'm bored. I'm like, go count something. How could you possibly be bored?
Go find 20 different colored things and then come entertain me.
I mean, that's honestly what I do sometimes.
Yeah, like go find mommy 12 different leaves from different plants, and grass doesn't count. But like envy, I felt like was envy maybe part of the time, and then envy was just like a fangirl. Like I don't even know what envy was. I don't know. It was weird.
I thought it was weird too. I thought envy was weird too, because
envy was not played well.
A little more like, oh, that's so cute, but it wasn't really
it was like I can't get it, but
envious and want that thing.
It was still good. It was still great. It will still be a great tool, like I said, to use like those conversations, but it was just too much. Like, I feel like anxiety should have just been introduced, and then maybe, because they didn't even do a good job, in my opinion, of like seeing how the new ones played into anxiety. Like, I felt like it just wasn't, like, it did not have that complexity that the first one had.
Counterpoint, that's how puberty is.
I thought about that. I did think about that. But then I was like, but then they could have played more into that. I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like this could have more. I feel like they're setting themselves up for additional sequels.
For sure. But like, you know, you only go through puberty
once. I feel like they did too much in too little of a time.
Yes, 1000%. But
also that is fully how puberty is. Also how my brain works on a daily basis.
True. This is very true, Alex. Thank you. But either way, I think it was my expectations and myself. So I know the problem is me. Hi, me. But I may have had like 2 margaritas. So who knows how that influenced it. But
also I was in and out because I took my 4-year-old daughter to the movie theater for the first time.
Oh, how fun.
So it was like, I want water. I have to potty. I'm hungry.
So you probably missed like, you know, a third of it. I hear.
Some of it.
Well, it was only like an hour and 20 minutes long, so you must have missed some plot point.
And with those dang lines, and man, I never go to the movie theater, but
me either.
These days they have the recliner seat.
Oh, it's nicer than your house. It's so nice.
It's nicer than I'm like, okay, I can do this.
We were like in pods. Me and my friend Ashley and I, like, we were in pods, and like I couldn't see the people next to us, couldn't see the people behind us. It was an experience. I mean, I could have fallen asleep. Like it was nice. Nice. There was blankets, which I didn't use the blanket. I had my own.
There was like a bar outside and a coffee shop and ice cream. I'm like, what is this. No
Just
wonder
give
it
me
costs
some
$20
gummies and a
ticket.
blue slushie. Like, damn. Like, what happened to the good old movie theater butter popcorn? Now it's like
I'm
gourmet.
Like, that's all I want here. Please cut my ticket price in half. I will not use the rest of this.
Although the chairs were pretty clutch. I won't lie. But it was nice.
Okay,
It was
I will
nice.
use that. Increase it 20%.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, no, I don't really go to the movie theater either. I feel like I go to the movies like once a year. So, like, this is my movie, I guess, this year. Although Stan definitely wants to see Deadpool. Oh, and Wicked comes out. Oh my God, we'll definitely go see Wicked.
Ooh. Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff there.
I will go see Wicked. So this is the year for movies, I guess. The movie theater gods unite. Liz will be there at least thrice this year. So, there's the news of the day, hot off the press. Oh my God. Well, any hizoo. I think I felt like I just kind of came in like full steam ahead in the intro because, like I said, nervous energy. But I talked about Pride Month. For those who don't know, it's Pride Month or the tail end of Pride Month. And I've been listening to a lot of my podcasts that, are talking about different things, having different themes about in relation to Pride Month. And sexuality has been a very common one, and it's been enjoyable to listen to. And it just got me thinking, like, what is sexuality? Like, what is sexuality? But
I mean, what even is sexuality?
Honestly, what happened was I started listening to Chapel. What happened was I started listening to Chapel Roan, and it just sent me into a tailspin.
I imagine you were not the only one.
Yeah, I'm just like, whoa, what's happening? I don't even know what's happening to me. I don't even know, and also, I don't know when the last time I fangirled this hard over, like, a musician. Like, it's definitely been some time. So, like, maybe when Cardi B first came out with, like, her big mainstream album, I was like, oh, just listen to that album back to back, all over, night and day, 24/7. That's how I feel right now. I can't stop Chapel Roan, and it's, like, just brought up a lot of thoughts in myself, and, like, not thoughts like realizations, but like, acceptance and things like that. And I don't know, like I said, you're my girlie to shoot the shit with, so I was like, well,
absolutely,
let's just open the can of worms and see where we land. So that's kind of the plan for today's episode is. So, for those who are regulars of the In Between, you're probably like, oh, we're going to talk about sexuality today. Okay. And you know what? I'm a grown up according to my license and my birth certificate, so we're going to talk about sexuality because we can. Now, when I'm watching a Bridgerton sex scene and I get very bashful and have to close my eyes, that's a different story. God.
Okay, I seriously am like the last person to the Bridgerton bandwagon. I have got to see an episode or two. Does it have gay people in it? Because I really like that.
Yes, it does have gay people, and I feel like they're setting up their first kind of like main queer romance. Maybe I don't know if it'll be the next season or what, but they're setting it up. It's good. I mean, it's not like the best thing ever, but it's like a sexually charged Regency drama. So I mean, what's not to like about that? But I will say, side note, Queen Charlotte, which is like in the Bridgerton universe, which is like the younger love story of like the queen in the series. That was amazing. Okay. I was shocked by how hard I cried at the end of that one. Like, I mean, audibly sobbed. Anyways, I digress. So yeah, there's some queer representation. It's definitely just going to get better, I guess, and get more inflated. Not inflated, but you know what I mean. I feel like I'm just being very awkward right now.
It's just going to get gayer.
Yeah, there we go.
Just say the things, man. Like, let it out. Let your
I feel
flag fly.
Yeah. Right. But I'm like, I don't want to offend anybody. And I'm like, okay, can I make gay jokes? I don't even know. But with that said, I was like thinking about just when was the first time I even thought about sex or sexuality or like those kind of feelings. And sorry, Mom, if you're listening. I remember I was like way too young, probably like 8. I'd say 8 years old, 8 or 9. And I would stay up late when I knew she was asleep. See, this is when you made me sleep in my own bed, Mom. Yeah, this is what happens. You put a TV in my room. I'm just kidding. But I mean, there was a TV in my room. But
I wasn't allowed a TV in my room. And let me tell you, I would have gotten in some more trouble.
Well, this is probably why children don't have TVs in their room. So I would watch MTV because I loved the music videos. This was also like at the height of NSYNC and Backstreet Boys. So you're probably like, you know where this is going. And so
but mine's going to go real weird. I can't wait to tell you.
Oh, God. And I remember there would be this show that would come on late. It would come on like midnight time. And it was called Undressed. And I'm sure it was like shit TV, but it was just like a sexually charged, like high school, college
Yes.
drama.
Yes.
And it was like every type of like sexual relationship you could ever think of, like gay,
Because that's like
lesbian.
HBO, right? Like they're
Right,
like
exactly.
HBO. Where's
It was
sex?
like cheating. It was like affairs. It was just like sexually charged, like lovers, like whatever. It wasn't
Yeah.
just like LGBTQ, queer, but it was just sex. But it was this child's first exposure to all of it, like even the same sex, even like and I was fascinated by all of it, and I didn't understand what was like what I was feeling. I think I was like 9 years old, so like it was like right before you really start to get into puberty. So I guess maybe this was just my runway, but I also grew up on Tu Wong Fu, and I think that not just influenced all of my fashion, but like I watched that movie when I was like 5, and I haven't stopped since. I could recite it.
So good. It's so good.
And
man, that I didn't even like realize at that point when I was watching Tu Wong Fu that, and so many of my moments are not realizing it until it was like hit me in the face. You know what I mean? Like, but I digress. The point is I love Tu Wong Fu,
That movie.
that I just would watch that over and over and over again. I loved it so much.
I loved it so much, and like at 5 and 6, I had no idea they were men. I had no idea. Like, my naive, I had no idea. And I would just watch it, and I thought they were just really big women, and I loved their clothes and their attitudes, because like I got none of the nuance when I was that age.
Right.
And then you have RuPaul coming down like out of the ceiling in a skin tight rebel flag dress, and you're like,
amazing.
Yeah, no,
amazing.
Yeah, we should. Man, I wish you were here. We could watch that movie together. I would love it. But yeah, so those are like, my first kind of exposures to sexuality. I mean, I was definitely that girl in high school that learned in it was senior year or junior year high school, in the chorus room when we were waiting to sing during a recital, when 2 of the guys explained what a blowjob was to me. So like, I've had some of those stereotypical like experiences of like, oh, she learned not at band camp, but at chorus recital. But like
recital.
It is what it is. And I've always just asked questions. And I'm an only child, so I didn't have a sibling to like learn from. And and I definitely wasn't gonna ask my Nana and my Papa about shit like that. And my mom was a single mom working, so it's like I just learned on my own. And some of it was maybe a little too fast, and some of it was like a little too slow. Because like I saw all this, but I didn't understand it. So then like when I had my own experiences, there was like immaturity and naivety to it. Because I'm like, well, I don't like. Wait, I do this? I don't just watch it.
And not only that, but you have no like comparison, right? So this is kind of junky trash TV, and this is your first like exposure to different types of relationships other than, so like this is the first
truly was
that you were seeing. And I imagine that it was not representative of most queer people.
Oh no, it was very much like softcore porn, but like without like the nudity aspect of it. I can't believe I'm admitting this on the podcast. Oh my God, there's definitely some people who I'm like, sorry guys, please, you can still look me in the eye when I see you next time. But anyways,
you told me about when you would go through like MTV and VH1 and like look at the music videos, and of course they were all very sexy and sexually charged and stuff like that, as they still are.
Yes.
But I remember this one particular video that I could not get enough of. So like I'd come home, sorry mom, I would come home and be like, okay, I'm gonna get on VH1 so that way I can wait for the Aerosmith Crazy episode, or the Aerosmith Crazy music video, where Liv Tyler and Alicia Silverstone are skinny dipping.
I remember that.
And also that like it's their dad in the band, so that's weird that he would like sexualize his daughter.
You're right, that is so fucking weird. Ew.
Anyway, so that's really weird. But I was just all about seeing Liv Tyler get naked and skinny dip, even though you didn't see anything, but I wasn't allowed to watch it. So I like very much tried to sneak it in. And then of course there's like we didn't have HBO, so I'd be going through like with the trying to get on the channel 4 or whatever in between channels so you could see a glimpse of a boob or something.
You're hilarious. You were hilarious. So I wasn't even that sneaky. I was sneaky with the MTV, but that was it. Like, I was like, I found that and I was so innocent. I had no idea like anything else like that existed, right? I just thought I found this really insanely crazy TV show. And it's like, what am I watching? I don't know, but it's making me feel weird things, but this is weird. I don't know. But then this is also the girl, when I was like 7, had a crush on Paul Hogan, who, for those who don't know, was Crocodile Dundee.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and he's also like, quadruple my age. So, maybe there's some daddy issues wrapped up into that. Like, why was that my 6-year-old, 7-year-old crush? And not like Jonathan Taylor Thomas or something, but like whatever.
Amazing.
Yeah. I should we all know Jeff Goldblum's my boo thing, and one day he will be on this podcast and it will be amazing.
Feels the same way, and my bestie for that matter.
God, he is just that's something Stan just accepts about me. He's like, yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
He's just a big old weirdo, and everybody likes that. Everybody wants to also be a weirdo.
Exactly.
Everybody wants to just
own your weird.
Fly their freak flag.
Own your weird. Own your
weird. Man.
Own your fashion. Own your hair. Own your personality. Own your sexuality. Own your food preferences.
Cringe.
Yeah.
Let people cringe.
Let me film a video in public and not look at myself. Like, look at me. Because, I'm really trying to work on that. But God dang it. I'm concerned you're all staring at me, even though I know you're not. I know you're not. Jeez. Anyways, Paul Hogan. So there's that. And side note, that's another movie that I watched religiously. And I would, walk around and, do this to animals. Because I think I could, get their attention. Because that's what he would do. I'm so weird. God bless. It's amazing I have friends as an adult.
When I was 8 or 9, I think it was maybe around there, my cousin, she had just come over, and I think we had just met, or we were just introduced to one another very recently. And she was always the type to I was the type to follow along a troublemaker, and she was the type to be a troublemaker. So one time, my mom busted it on us while I'm at the keyboard on AOL chat rooms, right?
Oh, definitely had my Yahoo experience there.
Oh,
God.
Yeah. And I was pretending to be gay.
I was trying to find Daniel Radcliffe because Harry Potter had just come out, and I was convinced that the guy in the chat room knew Daniel and he was going to connect us. Yeah. And my handle or my name was Little Miss Goody Two Shoes, which is hysterical to think about.
Mine must have been real emo, I'm sure. It was just very sad and repressed. I just want to make sure everybody knew I was very emo.
Yeah,
Which
yeah.
I was not.
Wow. My mother is probably listening going, wow, I probably trusted you a little too well, didn't I, kid? But, everyone has these experiences, in some way, shape, or fashion on their own scale. And it's part of growing up. It's a part of going, oops, should have looked at that. Oops, I did it anyway. And then you're like, what does that mean? Look at your eggplant. I don't know.
I'm real scared to start having open and honest conversations with my daughter. Let me tell you what. I mean, we already do, right? At age appropriate. But, I really, really want to be very sex positive with her, and that scares the shit out of me.
Yeah, don't ask me. I have no kids. I don't even have to think about that yet.
How do I just have this conversation and not show you my face? Because I cannot hide my facial reactions, and I need to when my kid's telling me something that is gonna freaking make my heart drop to the bottom of my stomach, and I gotta be cool about it.
Maybe there's books that maybe there's children's books that help you address it.
There's gotta be. Yeah.
Let's call Chapel Roan. I mean, seriously, I'm sure she's got the answer.
Chapel Roan will know.
Bless it.
Recommendations.
I'm so obsessed with her. It's not even healthy. It's not healthy, and it's also not healthy how quick it happened. We're on week 2. So, it's very soon. It's when she came out in that freaking Statue of Liberty outfit at the governor's ball. I was like,
amazing.
Who the hell is this woman? Oh, my God. And then that's when the affair began. So, even Stan's humming it now.
All down for there. Downhill from there, yeah.
Stan sings it. I was singing it all weekend. Now my mom likes her. It's just...
My best friend, who's straight as an arrow, she would love to be a lesbian because, let's be honest, most men suck. So she's she would love to be a lesbian. Absolutely not. She's very much, unfortunately, attracted to men, and She loves Chappell Roan and is singing it in her car like she's the biggest les she ever was.
And some of the lyrics are like
she can't imagine life without her girlfriend.
Girl. All right, this might be a not safe for work lyric, but there is literally a lyric in one of her songs where she's like knees deep, getting eaten out in the passenger side, and I'm just like, oh! And then I'm like, you know what? Hell yeah, because there are so many male singers that sing about shit like that, and it's just I've never heard a mainstream song about a woman singing about a woman, and it's like, you know, hot and great,
unapologetic about your sexuality.
Exactly. And I think that's what's so alluring about her music is like, and I think that's why I was empowered for this conversation, because like it's not about being a lesbian. It's just about owning your sexuality so authentically and pandering to such a wide audience. Like I was on TikTok and they call it like, Pink Pony Grandpa or something, and it's like some older gentleman, like, I mean, gosh, he's got to be like late 70s or something, maybe 80s, just singing every word to Pink Pony Club, like at one of her concerts. Amazing. And I'm just like, is this her grandpa? Which I don't think it is. I think he's but grandpa. Like, it's just, I don't know. And like I said, like I got Stan singing her, I got my mom singing her, I have so many friends who are obsessed with her right now, like, and she is singing about fucking sexual, very sexual. I mean, literally,
like
almost
men have been doing for eons.
That song, "Picture You," that's so beautiful, is about like pleasing yourself. And like I listened to the lyrics and I was like, this feels vaguely sexually charged. And I started like listening to lyrics even more because it's a really pretty song. It seems like a ballad. And I'm like, the fire,
love ballad to yourself.
I have my fire. I'm like, oh my God, is this about like pleasing yourself? And I'm like, oh,
is this about me?
No. Oh my God. But like, you know, she goes there and it's like still somehow not inappropriate. Like, I mean, it is definitely, don't let your children listen to it, but like, I don't know. It's just, she's awesome. And you know, in the spirit of Pride Month, I was like, I want to talk about sexuality and owning sexuality. How did we learn about sexuality? And I'm sure anyone listening, you probably had a different path to learning too. Like, did anybody really have a birds and a bees conversation? And also, did it end and begin there? You know?
Yeah, we did. My mom, when we had birds and bees, I mean, obviously it was specific. I mean, not obviously, but it was very like specific around heterosexual relationships between cis people. Like there was no representation in that conversation. It was kind of just the clinical, this is how baby's made. This is how your period happens, which I've already had to explain to Riley the period situation. She's very curious. And so when she asks the questions, I just got to take a deep breath and go, well, let me tell you about how a period happens and how babies come out of you. So first, she's not asked about how they get there, and I'm not pushing the subject. Let me tell you what.
You sounded like a child book. You're like, okay, class, so a menstrual cycle. Call me Mrs. Flo. Oh shit. I'm dead. That's funny. Oh my God. Well, have fun with that. Glad, you know, I haven't, obviously I'm not a mom, so I don't have to worry about those conversations, but I'm more concerned with if I have a boy having that conversation of like, all right, mister, I'm like, I'm going to keep you home until you're 18. And then then you're on your own. No, just kidding.
Yeah, I mean, you literally have to do like, especially with kids who are assigned male at birth, right? They are taught in a society to behave a certain way, right? Boys will be boys. Whether or not your parents are teaching you that society in general is teaching you that. The media is teaching you that. And so like we have to be really, really active with our boys, with our children who are assigned male at birth, and teaching them anti-rape things. You know what I mean? Like we have to teach them not to be rapists because our society teaches differently. And so it's really important that we're having those conversations. So when I was pregnant, I was very nervous to have a boy, not only for that, but to even make a decision around circumcision
Oh,
without having any personal experience, that was really
right.
nerve-wracking.
And I feel like that Reddit thread would be a little concerning. So it's like enter at your own like risk.
Yeah.
Goodness gracious. And it's like it's not that society teaches them to like you know I don't want to like go and say society encourages that, but it's they don't discipline it, and there's no like I don't know like we could that's a whole other conversation that we could like
That's
snowball into,
whole
but.
other-
I feel like I don't remember really having a birds and the bees conversation. I feel like I learned everything from health class, which that's like terrifying, and people, you know?
Yeah.
And I feel like I was a little bit of a late bloomer because of that. And yeah, I guess I let that freak flag fly when I got to college. And that's when I had other experiences and like, you know, just tried everything, I guess you could say, for lack of better words. But it's just interesting where we are now as society, and you have Chapel Roan like just screaming her sexuality from the rooftops, and you know, and like it's not even about that part. It's just the thing that I want to talk about is it's like that's just who she is. It's something that I bought into that. It's just like it was way into my obsession with her before I realized, oh, is she a lesbian? Because like I didn't even care about that. It wasn't even something I noticed, because where we are as a society, where we're getting to, and I definitely know like it's not everybody, but where we are generally getting to is like, it's not about a label. It's just a part of you. It's an expression. It is just a lived experience. And that's where I like, and I'll tell myself I am 33 years old. And I was like, do I even know what the definition of queer means? Because like I was reading an interview with about Chappell, and I was talking about a queer artist. I was like, well, she seems very much like a lesbian. So let me just see, is this a different thing? And it's just queer is just a all encompassing term, at least now. I know it was not, not in the past.
I suppose it always has been, but then there's people who have taken it and used it as a slur, just like many other terms, right?
Right.
Which is not cis. Cis is not a slur. Just for anybody who's wondering.
Yes.
For anybody who's listening to Elon Musk out there.
Wait, what did he say?
That cis is a slur. He's like
cisgender?
Like cisgender, like on Twitter, he's like banning the word cisgender because he thinks it's a slur.
I think it's
and
just
I'm like, my friend, it just means you're the same sex as you were assigned to birth. I don't understand what your issue is.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm also just like that's like a real word, so I'm just trying to figure out how it's a derogatory term and like why he views it that way. But that's I'm just trying to understand his logic there. That makes no sense. But anyways.
Well, and that's the thing, is it doesn't make any sense, and the logic is let's yeah.
Okay.
Again, another rabbit hole. God, we could talk for hours.
Seriously though. But I looked up queer, and it was, you know, I silly to find out. It's like an umbrella term. It catches all, encompasses all, and it's basically for me, it's like a lack of label, and that's what I like about it. It's just, it really is for anybody who isn't just straight as a pencil, you know?
Yeah.
That doesn't even mean romantically interested in same sex or whatever sex. It doesn't necessarily mean, oh, you're sexually attracted. I mean, it could just mean like you have thoughts of the same sex, and it begins and ends there. Like, yeah, and it kind of blew my mind of like, oh, it's just so inclusive. I don't even know. And it had me thinking like, I think I'm queer. And then I started talking to some friends about it, and they're like, oh, by that term, I think I'm queer too. And I was like, and you know, I'm married. I am sexually attracted to men, and I am romantically interested in men. But I mean, I've messed around with women before, and I didn't hate it, but like, that's kind of where, again, it begins and ends there. Yeah. But I don't know. Wow. So I'm just thinking of some of the people listening to this right now, and I feel like I'm blushing. I am like, Mom, you can turn it off. It's okay. I'm just like, thank God my grandmother doesn't listen to this. Dear God. Then she probably doesn't even know what a podcast is. Thank goodness there. But with that said, this isn't like a episode on I'm going to rehash like my experiences, because like, you know, you could save that for the book one day. But it's more of just having a conversation around like something that, one, I think is a little taboo to talk about. And I just want to make it like, hey, it doesn't have to be taboo. It's just a part of who you are. And like, I'm not labeling myself necessarily anything, but it does feel kind of cool to be like, oh, so that's what that is. Oh, okay. Because of course, like I went down a rabbit hole of articles and things, and there's a lot of micro labels, Alex. Holy fucking shit.
Well,
And
I was
like,
just going to say, labels are so interesting. Labels can be really helpful in like identifying your own experience and talking about yourself having language to talk about your identity experience, right? Whether it be your gender, your sexuality, your romanticism, any of that. But then they can also be very limiting. Right. And so some of us will use a lot of labels. Some of us will use none. Some of us will use umbrella labels like queer. And it really just depends on the person, on how you how you identify with it. If it's helpful, use it. If it's not, don't.
Right.
Period. You know what I mean? I think there's helpfulness in finding your people. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And then again, there's the limiting aspect of it is, am I really finding my people? Because am I putting myself in this box because I feel like I have to put myself into a box?
So about Inside Out 2 and anxiety, just kidding. Because it'd be like, you were just saying that, and like, I say that as a joke. I'm not trying to make fun of anybody with who, because like, I think the point is you can use 12 different labels, because I swear to gosh, there are like 27 layers to it. Or you could just be human. You could just be queer. You could just be whatever the case may be. I mean, one could argue being queer, like maybe you've had multiple partners at once. I think queer is a representation of a spectrum, in my opinion. And I'm not, and I don't mean, I hope that's not ignorant to say.
No, not at all. I mean, it is a spectrum. Queerness defines a wide variety of identities, and it's basically just not going with the social norms.
Right.
So whatever that goes against the grain of social norm is considered queer, right? And then there's a zillion umbrellas, LGBTQIA, and then you've got all of your gender identity umbrellas, you've got all of your sexuality umbrellas, your romanticism umbrellas. Let's not forget our asexual brothers and sisters and siblings here who don't have a sexual desire, and they're still included in this queerness, right?
Right.
Or demisexual people. Like, there's just such an array of identities because there's an array, a very wide spectrum of experiences.
Right.
And nobody's is really going to be exactly the same.
Right. And I think that's the beauty of it. And self-love is a pillar here, right? I always talk about that. And this conversation is just to keep pushing the needle, bridging the gap of acceptance and love no matter what. Because I know there's a lot of shame still attached, because there is such a binary conversation around this. And I'm trying to always push, it's a spectrum. It is a rainbow, literally and figuratively. And the more boxes you put yourself in, the more anxieties they create. So I just want to embrace like you and your uniqueness. And like, if that involves 12 labels, cool, good for you. If it just like allows you to accept, okay, I'm different, like that's great. That's all I want to. So it's, I don't know. I just want to have more conversations around things that make people feel shame and isolated from society, because society is what drove this to begin with. Like, I know maybe you're tired of hearing that it's a societal construct, but like, I hate to beat a dead horse, but like, it is. And
so let's not do it.
And like, as we evolve as humans, like socially, like we are socially evolving. Like that is definitely a thing. And we're at different stages of it, right? Like for sure, I assume as we progress in that direction, it'll be more of an awareness and acceptance, but just own who you are, and that should be okay. And you don't need to worry about whether you're sexually attracted to this person, but romantically interested in this person. Like, who cares? It doesn't matter. It doesn't make you weird. It doesn't make you different. It doesn't, it's just.
And I would say, like, it absolutely matters to your point earlier about like, yes, we need visibility. We need people talking about who they are.
I think that was what I was trying to say.
For themselves.
Not get that out. Thank
but
you.
At the same time, you're welcome. At the same time, like, we think about the term coming out, and is it really even necessary anymore?
I don't
because
think
that
so.
says to us, if I have to come out, that means I'm different than what everybody else expects.
Right.
I found this quote.
I know that's easier said than done too. Just FYI to anyone listening who's had hellacious coming out stories and experiences.
Multiple times, I'm sure. Like as you evolve, as you understand yourself more.
Right.
I know I just stopped coming out because I I'm like, okay,
I was going to ask, do you want to share your story? Well, when you were sharing your story earlier, it sounds like you kind of already were always drawn to same sex. So, like,
absolutely.
how was your
Like,
journey or acceptance?
I had a little girlfriend when I was 13 too. Like, and we would hold hands, but I'd be like, but I like boys. And I would get so I would date a lot of boys. And like, as soon as we would get together, I would lose interest. So it was like really about the chase for me. And I remember this time where I was so offended because my mom was asking about my beau. And I didn't know she meant like BEAU, like your guy.
Oh, your boo. Yeah.
Your boo, your cute beau is like beautiful or
Yeah.
attractive in French, right? I thought she meant boyfriend of the week, BOW.
That's hilarious.
So like I literally was just, I mean, comp het was real for me for the first 18 years of my life. And then I went to a party and I kissed a girl and I was like, all of the fireworks went off and all of the streamers and everybody's like, well, everybody in my head was like, oh my God.
She said for her head, I'm dead.
All the people in my head.
I love it. Like everyone, you're like, oh wait, well, everyone in my head, but that's okay.
Like
Thank you.
It was like the light bulb going off.
Right.
It was bananas because I was like, oh my God, this makes so much sense as to why I've always liked girls and I keep trying to make out with them.
So you said you were 18 when you finally had that experience? Wow. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yep. And then I moved up to Flagstaff for like a good 9 months and sort of like had my foundational college time there with a whole group of queer people. And it was one of the best experiences of my life. It was very short-lived, but I was doing some reading recently about queer people and how they sort of experience this time. They experience time differently when you come out, or sometimes when you come out, and that is like you're free to be yourself, right? And you almost go through this like second puberty, and you are in this very pivotal time in your life. So that 9 months that I spent living 2 hours north was one of the most foundational times of my life that I remember so vividly. More so than any other time period in my life. It's like I just have cemented that timeline, and it feels so much bigger in my life than many other portions of my life, rather. So, after I came out, it was just really incredible immersing myself into queer culture and kind of gaining sort of a foundation on queer and feminist views, allyship, that kind of thing.
Yeah. I feel like everyone, well, not everyone, I need to stop generalizing, keep saying everyone, bleh, but I feel a lot of people, myself included, had a lot of awakenings in college. Like that's where I took a philosophy class and oh God, that opened my brain up to so many things. And now, that's why I'm always like, existentialism is my religion, but I don't believe in religion. But regardless, I digress. But college was like the time where you're like, oh, because I mean, as it should be, like your time to explore, but like think differently, think bigger, think objectively, challenge in your beliefs because you lived in such a bubble. So I guess you were 18, as you're saying, when finally the light bulb went off. Yeah,
even though like I was before that, I was like in the Gay Straight Alliance, and I had a T-shirt that said "Ally" with a straight couple on the side.
Right, absolutely, always. I was a theater kid. I was always like,
ally.
You know. I mean, I grew up on Tu Wong Fu. I clearly was an ally before I knew what an ally was. Like that's why I'm like, who cares? Like, just let them live their life. Like, why does it matter to you? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's kind of gross if you think about like why people care too much. Like, so you really care what these people are doing in their bedroom? Like, that's kind of like gross.
Well, exactly. I got this quote here by Rodney S. Williams Jr. He's a storyteller, strategist, and an organizer. And he says, with coming out, we give others the opportunity to reject our visibility as if it's their choice. So I thought that really hit me because I'm thinking about it and I'm thinking about coming out and like how sometimes we feel like we have to come out because it's different than what society says.
Now, what if somebody, and I agree with everything you're saying. However, we know that maybe families or friends or communities are not accepting. So sometimes coming out is a way of like a safety net, I think, to like own your truth, maybe.
Absolutely.
But that's also shame on society for, you know, having to enable that net to begin with. But as I said earlier, like I think we're tracking hopefully one day in that direction where it's not about a label, it's about just being human, you know?
Yeah. Yes. And that's the ultimate goal. And of course, until then, we have things like having to come out because people still have societal expectations of us. But as we go and we, you know, have our future generations, let's teach them that you don't necessarily have to come out. People can just be who they are.
Right.
You know, you don't even have to pick a label. You can just be you.
Yeah.
Be you.
And you don't even have to come out. You can just honestly keep it in your head for as long as you want. Or you can tell
nobody's business
one friend.
Man.
Or you can, I don't know. I was trying to think of an Inside Out reference, and I was like, you could tell Bing Bong. And I was like, well, that just got weird. I don't even know why I was thinking that. But
I love Bing Bong. Also, my girlfriend has a Bing Bong stuffed animal that smells like cotton candy.
Oh, well, that is interesting. Did it come smelling like cotton candy?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It was like, no, she didn't scent it.
Okay, like, did you just give us some body spray? Like,
no, it's like, because you know how Bing Bong is made of cotton candy?
Right. Yes, that makes sense.
So
how freaking cute. That's such a Disney thing. Of course, Disney would make it smell like cotton candy. Of course.
Yeah. Yeah.
My goodness.
Yeah. It's so cute. I love it so much. I just, every time.
You're hilarious. Oh, you're hilarious. So when you came out, was your family accepting? Did you have a hard time with that?
Yeah. I mean, my parents were pretty accepting. My sister was like, okay, yeah, I know. Can I go because I have to do the dishes? Like when I told her on the phone, she was like, okay, and so she was
we all knew Alex.
Yeah, she was she knew before I knew, kind of a thing. And she was also like, nobody has to come out, just be yourself. That's just how she is, you know?
Yeah.
And then my family, I think my mom was really, I don't think she was upset that I'm gay by any means. I'm sure there was some grieving that she had to do, because when you have kids, you have an idea of what their life is going to look like, and then when they tell you it's going to look different, that is something that every parent has to go through.
I can see that.
But she was also afraid of like how I would be treated, and what things I would have access to, and how hard life would be. And that was tough. You know, that was tough for me, because it was like, you know, I was really grateful that I had this mom who was supportive and who just really, really cared about my life experience and my happiness. I also didn't want to have to bear the burden of those worries. But so I instead decided to just do the best to not only change my experience, but everybody else's around me, and be the best advocate I can. You know what I mean? And she's proud of me. She's so damn proud of me.
Didn't they come to your art show? I was some art installation.
What's happening with my hair?
It's fabulous and curly and voluptuous. Your hair looks great.
Thank you.
We're both having good hair days, if I say so myself. Like my bangs are banging, and your curls are your curls are curling. My
curls are curling. This one's kind of doing a little weird thing. I'm not really sure what's happening here, but it's fine. It's fine.
But we stand a supportive mom and dad. So, because I was saying, didn't they come to your art show? They came to your art show, right? Yeah.
It was really embarrassing. Oh my God. Okay. I am so grateful again that they went with me. Do not recommend going to an erotic art show with your parents. Because that shit is weird.
Oh, I'm dead.
But I'm so glad they came. And I'm so glad that we got to go together. And it felt like a really just reassurance and just another example of their pride for me. You know what I mean? Like their unwavering love and pride for me, even if I'm drawing naked ladies and being the gayest gay I can be.
The theme of this episode, let your freak flag fly. So,
let your freak flag fly, man.
For you, it's that. I'm trying to think, like mine. I don't know. My mom's like, can you not cuss as much? I'm like, fuck no, Cindy.
No.
I'm just kidding. I love my mom. I love my mom. Sometimes she gets in my head.
Not to cuss, but then she does too.
You know, that's another conversation. I get some words are insensitive and not appropriate, but why does fuck have to be one of them? Because I love a good, like, get it out. You're angry. It's a good solid sound. So
I gotta watch myself because my kiddo keeps doing it. I'm like, you don't do it, right? And I more specifically, don't do it in front of other people. I kind of don't care. I mean, it's a little cringy when my daughter says the F word, but it's entirely my fault. But I'm just like, please, dear God, don't say it in front of anybody else.
Yeah, right.
So again, trying to hide the face and be not emotionally react to her saying the F word, so that way she doesn't want to do it more.
That's what my mom says to me. She's like, another piece of advice I can tell you about having kids: don't emotionally react when they're trying to get a reaction out of you, and like when they're doing stuff like that. Anyways, we are all over the place with the conversation. So here's our moms and our one-on-ones with our mothers and how wonderful they were and supportive they were. Thanks, Mom.
Thanks, Mom.
Anywho, well, what are the key takeaways of this episode? Sexuality is a spectrum.
Fly your freak flag.
Fly your freak flag.
Say it 5 times fast, though.
No. Fly your freak flag. 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 Oh, I fucked up the fifth one. I messed up the fifth one. The fifth one. Couldn't do it.
Labels can be helpful and labels can be limiting. So use them at your discretion, and you don't have to if you don't want to.
X, choose not to answer. Totally okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
it's your business, nobody else's.
Sexuality is a spectrum, and it's not something to be ashamed of. It's not something you have to tell anybody, and it's not even a big deal. So, but that, I don't mean that to say to invalidate your experience, because owning your truth is the most important thing out of this whole episode. So own your truth and know that I hope everyone accepts you for who you are right from the get-go. But if not, there are people out there and you will find your communities. So.
Absolutely. There's a couple of things that come to mind. I wanted to mention that representation matters. That's another takeaway here, because that really, really makes a difference in how somebody can see themselves in their relationships, in themselves, that kind of thing. And then the other thing is, I already forgot it.
Where's that train of thought? Inside Out to reference the stream of consciousness.
Yep.
It's going down to the back of the mind right now.
The train has left the station. But, be yourself. Did I already say the thing about using labels if you want and don't if you don't?
Yes. Yeah.
There's a fun song about that. You guys should Google it. It's an Australian comic. Can't remember anything else, so there you go.
And on that, love who you love, do what you want, and don't bring your parents to erotic art shows, because things might get weird. But
it's weird. But if they're there to
then again, maybe
don't suck it up.
Yeah, but then again, maybe let them. So who knows?
It's so nice though. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's weird, but it's very nice. And just like own your sexuality. Be you unapologetically, and look for your people, because they're out there.
Right.
They're out there. I remember the last thing. Sometimes people say I'm too much, or they say other people are too much, right? Especially folks with like ADHD and stuff like that. Let's get on this or whatever.
But I grew up hearing that my whole life.
The whole "you're too much." My favorite mind reframing is go find less.
I literally have a sticker on my laptop that says, if I'm too much, go find less.
Go find less. Be yourself unapologetically. And if people cringe, let them cringe. That's their bad feelings to deal with. You don't have to deal with that, right?
In the words of Casey Musgraves, follow your own arrow.
Oh man, I love that song. It's so sweet.
Very sweet. It is sweet. Love her. Well, on that note, Alex, I think that concludes today's episode. So where can everyone find you? Because, in case they want to see your art, and in case they want to see your hilarious ramblings, not that you ramble, but also you are always posting either hilarious memes or very educational shit where I'm like, oh, I didn't know that. Okay, good to know. So
this is the roller coaster of my brain is my Instagram story. So that's have a fun ride with me.
She's like a Wikipedia.
At the.perpetual.hobbyist. And soon, I don't know when this episode's going to come out, but soon I will have a little more than a landing page on my website alexarmijo.com.
Ooh.
So I should put a little bit more out there before you publish this. I should work on my website.
Well, you had a landing page. That's impressive, though. That's saying.
Yeah.
That's starting.
I bought the domain, alexarmijo.com, and I'm like, okay, well, I could do this.
Buying the domain is half the battle. You've already started, so there you go. Snaps for Alex for already starting. So, yeah. I'll go ahead and link it, and even if it's a broken link right now, one day it's going to work. So.
That's right, baby. That's right.
I'm dead. That's hilarious. Well, thank you so much, Alex. And for those listening, if you're loving the in-between, please don't forget to rate, review, subscribe, and follow wherever you listen to your podcasts, including YouTube. That's where this little guy's going to be. But yeah, please leave your girls some ratings and some reviews because word on the street is I need to grow those. So yeah, come on. You help me. And one of these days I'm going to help you. I help you each week with like my hilarity and my awkwardness. So there's that. And my confessions apparently. So there's that too. So, again, sorry, mother, for today's episode. But you can follow me at the In Between Podcast on YouTube and TikTok, at in.betweenpod on Instagram, and then at ElizabethCheney_. So on that note, happy Pride Month. And if you haven't seen Tu Wong Fu, you need to go watch Tu Wong Fu. So
100%.
That's your homework. Yeah.
Stop
right
everything
now.
you're doing.
Right now. So
right now.
All right. Ta-ta for now. Bye.
Bye.